Well, algebra to Thursday. I trust you to be good for Mrs. Hall. So, a couple things before we get into our lesson. Number one, there is a quiz tomorrow. So listen carefully now. I'll tell you what it is over. We've talked about solving systems of equations. There are 3 ways to solve. What are they? You can answer even though I'm not here. Okay, go for all 3 of them. Okay, you should have said substitution, elimination, and what's the third one? I hope you said graphing. So there's one of each of those on the quiz. There is a substitution, there's an elimination, there's a graphing. Okay, we talked about weird stuff, like if you get 0 equals 0, what does that mean? Please answer the question. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, you should have said 0 equals 0, or a true statement means there are infinitely many solutions. What if you get a false statement? What does that mean? Hopefully you said no solution. Okay, and then there's one where you have to write and solve the story problem write and solve a system of equations from a story problem, just like we practiced on the worksheet. By the way, you can hold on to the worksheet until Friday. So quiz on Friday. Now, the material that we talk about today, not related to the quiz. In fact, sometimes that messes people up. I don't think this will mess you up because they're not really related at all. So we are starting lesson 5.6. We're going to call it 5.6, even if it's not 5.6. So this is called 2 variable linear inequalities. Okay, get out your piece of paper, which I forgot to say that. Get out your piece of paper, write that on there. Okay, if the video needs to be paused, we can do that too. Go ahead and resume when you're ready. Now, I don't think I was clear enough. This material is not on the quiz. Okay, so we're starting it because we have to move on, but it's not on the quiz. Okay, we're just introducing today, so obviously would never give one a quiz on it. So 2 variable linear inequalities. That sounds like it's scary. This is really just a mashup of 2 things we've already talked about. Okay, so what I want to do is review both of those 2 things, and then we'll talk about how they go together. So the first thing this is related to is graphing an equation of a line. Now, nicely enough, this on your quiz tomorrow. You got to be able to graph a line on your quiz, so this is a great review. So let's just graph for a second. So let's say we have y equals 4 plus 1/3 x. Okay, so I want you to draw yourself a quick set of axes on here, on your paper. Mrs. Hall or Miss Barnhart, you can pause if you need to pause if I'm going too fast, which I probably am. Okay, so we got to have some hash marks on there. So when we graph a line, we always start with the y-intercept. Now, there are 2 numbers here. One is the slope and one is the y-intercept. Which one is the y-intercept? Please answer that out loud right now. Okay, you should have said 4. And how do we know that's the y-intercept? Okay, hopefully somebody said the number with the x is not the y-intercept. What is that called? This is the slope. Okay, so we start with the y-intercept. Every line requires 2 points. Every straight line requires 2 points. So we start, our first point is always the y-intercept. Okay, so we're going to put a dot on the y-intercept. So some people, they just put their pencil there. You put a dot there. Your first dot should always be on the y-axis. No exceptions. Okay, if we are graphing a line like this, your first dot is on the y-axis. Okay. From here, don't lift your pencil. Okay. Don't lift your pencil or your pen or whatever it is. And this slope tells you what to do. Remember, slope is rise over run. So this is the up and down, and this is the right. Okay. There are exceptions to this, but pretty much this guy on top will tell you up or down. The bottom tells you that you're going right. You just always go to the right. Just trust me on that. Okay, so from my 4, this slope tells me to go up 1 and right 3. So up 1, 1, 2, 3 to the right. There are my 2 points, which I connect. And there's my straight line. Okay, now this will come back to this, but notice this has 2 variables in it. It has a y and it has an x. So I graph it on a coordinate plane. So the fact that we're going to talk about 2 variable somethings just means it's about graphing. Okay, don't worry about it now. We'll come back to it. Okay, let's graph y equals -2 plus 2/5 x. Okay, go ahead and draw your axes. Okay, what is your y-intercept on this one? Okay, y-intercept is -2. We know that not because it's in front, but because it does not have an x. So we always start with the guy that does not have the x. Okay, y-intercept, no x's is where we start. So starts at -2, because that is a -2, literally -2 on the y-axis. Now, this slope tells me to go up 2 and right 5. So this guy's the up, down. We'll talk about down in a minute. And this guy is always to the right. So we're going to go, got to have 5 because I have to go to the right 5. We're going to, from here, from our point on the y-axis, we're going to go up 2 and right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is actually right here on that axis. And I draw my line. 2 points to make a straight line. Okay, we're going to try 2 or 3 more. So let's say we have y equals 2x plus 3. I'm going to get into some of those things that cause people to ask questions. Questions are not bad, but if we can answer some of them all at the same time, it makes life easier. Okay, so put on some marks here. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, y-intercept in this one. Don't get caught by the trap that I laid for you. The y-intercept is 3. Okay, it doesn't matter what order it is in. Here, the y-intercept is in the front. Here, the y-intercept is in the back. It's about who has the x front. This guy. No x is the y-intercept. Okay, y-intercept is at 3. Now, this throws people off sometimes because there is not a fraction. So if this is not a fraction, what do we do? I know you guys know the answer, so say it out loud. Hopefully you said, put a 1 underneath it. Okay, you put a 1 underneath it. You make him into a fraction. So now you have the up and down business, okay, or the up and the right business in this case. So this tells me to go up 2 and right 1. So if there is not a fraction, had a fraction, had a fraction, if there's no fraction, you put a 1 underneath him. Then you have enough information to draw your line. Apparently like 3 today. Minus 4/3 x. Okay, to draw your okay, what's your y-intercept? Okay, it's our same old 3 because I can't come up with a different number. Okay, so 3 is the y-intercept. Now, this is different because it is a minus. Listen carefully, okay? And is it going to make your life the easiest it can be, or you're going to make your life hard? If there is a minus, put it with only the top. Okay, so I told you back here that this number tells you whether to go up or down. This one was up, this one was up, this one was up. This one is down 4 because it's negative. This is right 3. If you always make them go to the right, this guy's up or down, down. It's not a choice. You don't have a choice here. Okay, this is not a choice thing. Down 4, right 3. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, down 4. And right 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there you go. Down 4, right 3. Okay, here's the last one that we're going to do. So y equals, let's go 2 minus x. There you go. Let's draw our graph first. Okay, y-intercept is what? Let me do that before we do anything else. Y-intercept is 2, no x. Now, this throws people off also because there is no number with the x. But what does that mean if there's no number with the x? The x is there, so it's not 0. Okay, it's not 0, so what number goes there? Hopefully you said it was a 1. So you put a 1 there, and then you still have that problem that that's not a fraction. So what do you put under that 1? You put another 1. Okay, now this is a negative again. So instead of going up 1, right 1, we are going to go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. There we go. Okay, this, I told you, 2 variable inequalities, which is our topic, mashes up 2 things. This is the first one of them. Okay, you got to be able to graph a line. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, let's talk about the second thing. So we're mashing up 2 things together. This takes us all the way back to chapter 1, which is first semester. So let's say we're talking about inequalities. So we talked about the graphing part. We're going to talk about inequalities. So if I said, hey, let's graph this on a number line. Okay, we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When we were doing this, we asked ourselves 2 questions. Based on this right here, we asked ourselves, is the circle that I put at the 4, and by the way, we float those above, is the circle that I put here, do I fill him in or do I leave him not filled in? So this guy is called an open circle. Hopefully you remember that, open. Or if we fill him in, what is it called? Okay, I'll give you a second to answer that question. Okay, if you fill it in, it's a closed circle. So this guy, is he open or is he closed? Hopefully you said closed, and he's closed because when you see the equal to, that means you fill in a circle. The other thing that we asked ourselves is, do we draw our arrow to the left or do we draw our arrow to the right? And so the answer is, we want to illustrate. So these arrows are to illustrate, I just lost what I wanted to say, sorry. Are to illustrate the numbers that are less than 4. Okay, numbers that are less than 4 are this direction. So I draw my arrow in this direction. Okay, and that's that. So let's do a couple. So let's say I ask you to graph x is greater than 1. Okay, we're going to graph that on a number line. There's 0, here's 1. Okay, so first question is this open or is it closed? Okay, please answer that out loud. This is open because it's not equal to. So open, circle, floating there above the 1. And are we pointing him, this is x is greater than 1. So numbers greater than 1 are to the right. These are greater than 1, like this would be 2. That's more than 1. So I have to go in this direction. Okay. So you're asking yourself 2 questions: are open or closed, left and right. And it's all based on this symbol right here. So let's do one more. So let's see if we got x is greater than or equal to -3. So we're going to have 0, 1, 2, there's -3, which below there would be -4. Okay, so pause if you need to pause the video if you need to pause. Now, open circle or closed circle? Okay, it's a closed circle because it's equal to. Now, these are x's greater than -3. Greater than would be above. Now, there's a little bit of shortcut, a little bit of, I don't know, shortcut, but hack. As long as you're talking about x's, as long as your x is on the left side of this arrow, that inequality sign, tells you what way to draw the arrow. Okay, so if you need to pause the video and have Miss Barnhart or Miss Hall explain that to you, like, it's literally that easy. If the arrow points to the right, you draw your arrow to the right. This guy points to the right, so you draw your arrow to the right. That only works if the x is on the left. Okay, as long as the x is on the left, draw it. I know I said one more, but let's do one. So let's say we have this, x is less than 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Open or closed? Should be open because it's not equal to, not equal to is open. Now, using the shortcut I just told you, this tells you what direction to draw the arrow. So you're drawing your arrow to the left. You're drawing him where it points. So this arrow here matches the arrow that you put on the end of this. So you see this guy matches this guy. Okay, I can't make it any easier than that. Okay, now pause, go ahead and pause the video and see if there are any questions. And if it's 7th hour, and Ms. Hall does not want to answer the questions, you guys can help each other out. Okay, so go ahead and resume the video when your questions are done. Okay, now we'll put that together. So if you have not yet gotten a ruler and some graph paper from the counter, go ahead and do that. I gotta get my graph paper and my ruler. You're not gonna use them yet, but you're gonna use them in a minute. So when we put that together, it looks like this. You're gonna be graphing, and that's all you have to do. There's no solving, okay? It's graphing. Let's say y is less than or equal to 2 plus 1/4 x. Now, the nice thing is that I got to think about how I want to do this. We're combining the 2 things together. So we know that we start with the slope, or with the y-intercept, start with the y-intercept and we do the slope. But there's a little bit of work ahead of time. So there are 2 questions that you need to ask. And they're based on the inequality sign. Okay, and when we talk about inequality sign, I'm talking about this guy. Now, remember that when we're talking about things with 2 variables, that's what I was trying to say earlier. I probably didn't say it well. Okay, when we're talking about things with 2 variables, we end up with a graph. So there's no open or closed there. So what do we have to use instead of open or closed? Open or closed was here. Okay, can't do that on a graph. So the first question that we ask that's similar is my line that I draw a dotted line or a solid line? Okay, write that down and I will explain how you know. Okay. So a solid line, I know that there's a solid line if this is either less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So if this is equal to, like mine is, I'm just going to graph my line normally. Okay, I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So I'm going to write these notes down. So I'm going to do a solid line if there's an equal to underneath. If it's not, I'm going to make it with a dotted line instead of a solid line. Okay, that's the first question. Now, you're going to feel a little bit like this doesn't make sense. So take a deep breath. Let me finish the notes part and we'll put it all together, okay? Now, so 2 questions. So let's look at my graph up here. This guy that's circled in pink, is he going to be dotted or is he going to be solid based on the notes that I gave you right here? Right? If you look at this, these two, which is what this guy is, right? That's going to be a solid line. So I'm just going to write solid here. That's just for later. We'll come back to it in a second. Now, the second question you're going to ask is related to the other question that we asked up here. Like when we talked about these, we talked about, is it an open circle or a closed circle? Is it shaded to the, or are we draw our line to the left or to the right or to the right or the left? Well, in this case, we're now talking about things in 2 dimensions, which is why it's X and Y axis. So we don't ask about right or left. We talk about shading, which will look weird. I'll show you in a second. Are we shading above or are we shading below? No. Some people are going to be like, I don't know. This is actually really easy. Okay. If we shade above the line, we will have a greater than or equal to, because this is a greater than above. Like that should make some logical sense in your brain. There's a connection there. Greater than, above. Below then is if it's less than or equal to, because those less thans mean that it's below. Below is less. Now, again, you're going to be like, oh, I don't even know what we're doing. Just stay with me. Okay. Now, this guy's solid. We already said that. Now, based on what we said here, are we shading above or are we shading below? Okay. This symbol is this one. So we are shading below. Now we have, you guys, it takes way much less time to actually do this than it does to talk about it. Just in case you're like, this is going to take forever. It won't, I promise. You'll get fast at this. So now we have enough information to graph our inequality. Okay, so I'm going to start them out like we were graphing a line. This is the part where we already practiced this. Okay, so ignore the sign for right now. We already talked about it. It doesn't matter right now. Okay, so the y-intercept is 2. Y-intercept is 2. And then the slope tells us to do what? Go up 1 and right 4. Up 1, right 4. Now, before we do anything, I want you to pause. Okay, this is what I want you to practice when you're doing your math. Okay, pause and look at what we wrote. We're going to do this with a solid line. Okay, so solid line. So far, I've not done anything different. Okay, just bear with me. Here's the different part. We shade the graph. So this says shading above or shading below. We shade below the line. That's complete. Now, let me kind of explain to you why we do this. Okay, so this is going to kind of pull in something else from another lesson as well. But I'm going to go back up here. Okay, when we're talking about one dimension, when I graph, for example, x is less than 2, every number that's represented by this green arrow, now is green, if I plug it in here for x, it will make a true statement. So for example, 0 is on the green arrow here. If I put 0 in for x, is this 0 less than 2? Is that a true statement? And the answer is yes, 0 is less than 2. Okay. What else is down here? Like negative 10 is down here. Okay. Even though I didn't number all the way down, you don't have to number. You'd be numbering for infinity. Okay. You don't want to do that. If I plug negative 10 in for x, I have the statement negative 10 is less than 2. Now, that is true. Negative 10 is less than 2. So any number that's in this direction gives me a true statement. Any number in the opposite direction, like this would be 10 out here. If I put this in, 10 is less than 2. That's not true. That's why I didn't shade the arrow in that direction. I'm looking for what makes this true. Now, an inequality is different than an equation. Remember, if you're solving an equation, a regular old equation, like, let me give you this example. Okay, so let's say we're solving this equation. 2x plus 4 is equal to 10. Okay, we've solved enough of these. You guys know, subtract 4 and then divide by 2. And you get x equals 3. Okay, if you put this 3 back in here, you have 2 times 3 plus 4. What is 2 times 3? 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. There's only one thing that makes this true because it is an equation. But as soon as we make this into an inequality that says 2x plus 4 is less than 10, now we end up with x is less than 3. And how many numbers are less than 3? There are infinitely many. So pick a number less than 3. I'm going to pick one. It's 0 because that's easy, right? So if I put 0, 0 is less than 3. If I put 0 in here to the original, I get 0 plus 4. I get 4 is less than 10. That's a true statement. As soon as we hit inequalities, there are infinitely many solutions, and the only way to show them is with a number line. Now, the same thing is true with a graph, okay? So what this shading does is it shows us, let me rewrite this, y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1/4, or 2 plus 1/4 x. What this does is it shows us all the places that this is true. Okay, so let me give you an example. I'm going to pick an easy point here. 0, 0, that's the point 0, 0, right? It's at the origin, 0, 0. 0, 0 is in this shaded area, which means that if I plug 0, 0 in for my x and y, 0, 0, x, y, I should get a true statement. Okay, so y is 0, x is 0. What's 1/4 times 0? 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 2? Yes, it is. Okay, that's a true statement. It's in the shaded area. Okay, let me show you another one. I'll let you pick next time. Let's say we have the number, this is the coordinate point right here, 4, 0. I'm trying to pick nice for you. Okay, 4, 0. This is x, this is y. If I plug them into my equation, y is 0, less than 2 plus 1/4 times 4. Okay, what's 1/4 times 4? Is 1, in case you didn't know that. And this is 2 plus 1 is 3. That is a true statement. 0 is less than 3. Any coordinate point you pick down here, when you plug it in, you will get a true statement. Okay, now, what happens if we pick a coordinate point that's not in there? Okay, we pick a coordinate point that is not in there. Let's pick, or not, I like my zeros because they're easy. This is the coordinate point 0, 4. Okay, not in the shaded area, x and y. Let's plug that in over here. So y, 4, less than or equal to 2 plus 1/4 times 0. Well, 1/4 times 0 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. So we have 4 less than or equal to 2. Is that a true statement? And your answer is no. Okay, so do you see what I'm trying to get at? If we shade to show where we're going to get things that are true. If we're looking in the unshaded area, those are not true. So these things down here are called solutions. These up here are not a solution. So we shade to show the solution because you can't list them all. Okay, now, here's what I want to do. I want you to get your graph paper. What you have should have 6 graphs on it. I'm going to talk you through one. I have no idea how long this is taking us as far as our lesson goes. So let's do together y is greater than 1 minus 1/3 x. Okay, so let me talk you through this step at a time. Don't worry about doing the stuff with the solution. We're going to talk more about that on Monday, maybe Friday, depending on how long your quiz takes. Okay, but I want you to at least be able to graph. So always start by looking at this sign and deciding. First question, is this going to be a dotted line or a solid line? Okay, look back in your notes. That's the first question right here. Okay, so if we're graphing right here, y is greater than, is that going to be a dotted line or a solid line? Okay, hopefully you said dotted line. So let's write down dotted. It's just for our information. And then the second question is, are we shading above the line or below the line? This is a greater than, this is a greater than. So I gotta do above the line. So I'm just gonna write down dotted and above. Okay, now I graph him like a normal equation. Nothing weird. What's his y-intercept? Okay, y-intercept is 1. And what does the slope tell us to do? Remember, there's that sneaky negative in there. We should be going down 1 and right 3. Down 1 and right 3. Now, here's where you have to pay attention. And I'll be honest, you guys, I make this mistake every year. Just so used to drawing a straight line. This is a dotted line. So when we talk about a dotted line, it's dashes. I think Mrs. Petrowski, she would probably call it a dashed line, but that's weird to me. It sounds funny. So a dashed line, dotted line, whatever. But it's a dotted line. Okay? Or dashed line, whatever you want to call it. Now, that's the difference. So when we talk about dotted or solid, this guy was a solid line. This guy's a dashed or dotted line. Now, we're going to shade him. This is greater than. We already figured it out. We're shading him above the line. So his answer is this shaded area. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, let's do one more all together. So let's say we have y is greater than or equal to negative 4 plus 2x. Oh, sorry. No, there you go. Y is greater than or equal to negative 4 plus 2x. Okay, now do the symbol first. So, first question, dotted line or solid line? Okay, solid line, because he's got the line underneath him. You guys, that's how I remember. If the line's underneath, it's solid. It's just solid line. Now, take a look at the second question. Are we shading above or are we shading below? Well, this is our symbol. Okay, we're shading above because there we go. So it's going to be solid and shaded above. Now ignore these notes and graph like a normal. Okay, puts his y-intercept is negative 4. What does his slope tell us to do? Remember, he's missing his fraction, so put a 1 underneath. So slope tells us to go up 1, right 2. Now, solid line. No dotted line this time. Solid line. Now, this is where some people are like, I don't know where above is. Okay, I understand that because I switched the direction and it's steeper. Sometimes people freak out. Just be like, hey, I'm at this point. Where's above this point? It's up here. Like literally move your pen up and then start coloring there. Okay, there you go. Solid line shaded above. Okay, now here's what I want to do. This will end us out if it's not already done. I'm going to put 4 here, and I would like you to do all 4 of those. You need to come in with them done on Friday. Okay, so this first one is going to be y is less than x plus 1. This guy I want to be y is greater than or equal to 2 minus 3x. Pause if you need to. This guy I want to be y is less than or equal to 1/2 x minus 2. This guy I want to be y is greater than oh geez 5 minus 2/3 x. That's minus 2/3 x. Okay, that is what I would like you to attempt to graph. Okay, just give it a shot. It's not like scored homework, but I want you to try it. If you are in second hour, Miss Barnhart, can answer all your questions. I know Mrs. Hall is super smart and would be able to pick this up in a heartbeat. So you can ask her about dotted or solid, above or below. Cut her some slack on slope and y-intercept. Seventh hour, help each other. Okay, so if you have questions on slope, positive, negative, y-intercept, ask each other. Like I said, Mrs. Hall will be able to help you with shaded above, shaded below, dotted or solid. Okay, because it's super easy, even if she hasn't taken a math class in 5 years. Okay, and I know she's smart enough. So there you go. You guys see what you can do with that. And I will see you tomorrow. Do not forget, you have a quiz tomorrow.